Hmm. Oh, hey, sorry, you caught me. So I'll keep it here all day, or whatever. So anyway, welcome to part 3 or 4. Hmm. Hmm. Well, oh, sorry. Let's put that there. I'll get back to that in a minute. So yeah, hey, welcome to part 3 of 4. So the paranormal side of my life. Sorry, actually getting ready to go to sleep, so I'm gonna share this one with you quick. So the old house. Well, I'll start from the beginning. If you have ever been there, you will get what I mean. Well, so this house was terrible. There was mold everywhere. Pardon me. You'd pretty much walk around the house. You'd find hallway, mold, living room, mold, kitchen. Holy shit. Stairs, going upstairs, mold. Both bedrooms, mold. The bathroom, there was a capital city of mold. Damn. But yeah, literally mold everywhere. The heating was shit. The walls were so thin, you could hear all sorts of stuff, and I mean, yeah, you kind of get that drift. I mean, I'll put it this way. So I'll put it this way. You'd have. Wait, let me figure this out. Hang on. Hold that for. So if I figure this out right, so you'd have our door there, neighbour's door. So you'd have our door there, neighbour's door there, window there, window, then there. Yeah, what's up? Right. So if you can kind of work that out, so this would be our house. This is our neighbours. We would share like a driveway, but I don't fucking understand how. And then this would be our neighbours' house. I'll put it this way. We're here. And I'll put it this way. The walls that thin. Nobody lived here for a couple of months, if that. So you've got us, full house, an empty house, then a full house here. I put it this way. The walls were that thin. You could hear what was going on in the fucking house. Bloody hell. It was bloody ridiculous. That's what I mean. The walls were that thin. You could literally hear anything. Bloody ridiculous. Mold, walls. The garden was an absolute mess. It was just bamboo everywhere. So from what we can work out, the person who lived there beforehand had planted bamboo in the garden, but not in like, oh, I planted in the corner over there. Oh, I planted over there. Or I'll just put it in a plant pot. No, this neighbour had decided to plant the bamboo slap bang in the middle of the bloody garden. Well, not in the middle. I'll put it this way. Chain link fence. Yeah, bamboo. Literally around the fence. I don't know how the fuck that happens. So yeah, that was growing out of control. I tried to control it myself by cutting bits down, trying to dig it up, but obviously bamboo is a... what's the word I'm thinking of? It's a complete bitch to get rid of. The bedrooms were terrible, the windows wouldn't close properly, so yeah, that was fun when we had the winter and the snow and stuff like that. It was terrible. No, not being able to close your windows properly. So no wonder why was always ill, because couldn't close bloody windows properly. And last but not least, about the old house, the loft. That fucking loft. Or as I like to call it, the death trap, because it was actually literally a death trap. You couldn't really walk around up there. You couldn't do a lot up there, It was like a death trap. So anyway, here is some. Obviously, like I said, I was actually getting ready to go to sleep. So here is me explaining some other stuff. So while I go to sleep, you can listen to me talk. But obviously, in part 2, I said there were reasons why I needed out of that old house. Well, you're about to discover why. When I moved in, I had strange things happen to me. I could sense something wasn't right in the house. But I just thought, it's old, old house feeling. But I knew something was there. But what was it? Was the question. After a few months, stuff happened more often than normal. So I thought, right, enough is enough. Sam's mum had summer, Sam had gone out, so I thought, I'm here alone, what's the worst that can happen, right? So I called out, and I got a response, and I saw a little girl in a dress. She must have been about 5, 6 years old, but I noticed the kind of dress she was wearing wasn't a modern dress. It was from, let's say, World War II era. So I panicked and I left the house to go buy fags. I hadn't told anyone what happened. Luckily, Sam was on her way back. I didn't tell her anything about what I saw and did. After a couple of days, I kept seeing this little girl hiding. I asked her for her name. I got M. So I said, Emily, and she nodded. She was a shy girl. I didn't say anything. Still, a few months passed, and Mary was born, and we had a power cut. One night, luckily the girls were asleep and me and Sam were still awake, and we were all upstairs. Anyway, we were playing a game on whatever console was out. Then, boom, power cut. So we started hearing noises, and Sam thought it was me messing around. I said, I would love to know how when I am next to you. So I called out, and one of the floorboards creaked. But there was a carpet down, so I called out to Emily and asked if it was her to knock. And what happened? I got a knock. So I knew Emily was nearby. Sam then tells me, how do I know her name? I told her. She told me her name. Sam had the same feeling about the house, but never saw anything. After researching the house, we were surprised to discover it was many things, but during the time of Emily, it was a school, and telling a few neighbours about it, they all said they had experienced the same kind of stuff. After a while, you could sense stuff, so it became second nature. Well, until one day when my dad called me. I'd finished talking with my dad on the phone, then 5 minutes later, he called me back to tell me that my nan, his mum, had passed away. So I was in shock because my nan was a legend. You ask any of the Cornell, and they will tell, well, Cornell's my side about her, and they will tell you exactly the same thing. She was a bloody legend. Anyway, after a few weeks, my dad told me about the funeral arrangements and that I would be going. Then things changed. I was meant to go to my nan's funeral, but I didn't go to my nan's funeral. But my dad called me up after a few hours after the funeral, and told me she had a lovely send-off and that he was sorry that I couldn't be there. But I could be there for something else, which I didn't mind, bearing in mind I didn't go. I had this weird thing happen. I had that call from my dad midweek, so I wouldn't have known this. I'd gone to the shop to go get some essentials, and when I came back, I thought one of the girls were playing in the downstairs hallway. So I called out, "Ha ha, very funny," only to discover that both girls were in the living room with Sam. I was in shock, and I was told then my dad had called. So I called him back and spoke to him. I was in shock. My dad knew something wasn't right by the sound of my voice and asked what's up. I told him I had just come back from the shop and thought one of the girls were playing in the hallway. He was like, right. But when I told him I saw what was like a red fabric swaying like a flag in the wind, he got emotional and told me that Nan was wearing like a red outfit at her funeral. I was in shock, and both me and my dad both agreed that was her way of saying goodbye. And I'm here in spirit, and I'll always be with you. I loved my Nan to bits. She was a legend in many ways. I remember going with my dad to go see my Nan, and it was so amazing to actually get to spend the time with her when I could. Whether it was taking the dogs for a walk, going to her local shop with her. I mean, it was amazing. I remember one time, me and my dad were there, and yes, if you've guessed it, I am crying. Not tears of sadness, tears of happiness, if you get what I mean. I remember my dad saying that my nan was like, "Alright, I'm going to the shop, do you want anything?" And I went with my nan, and my dad had said he's allowed anything, but he's not allowed bubble gum. And at the time I didn't know that the sweets I had actually picked up were like bubble gum. I remember I didn't know this at the time, and I remember walking back into my nan's and just munching away, and Dad was like, "What you got?" So I gave him one, and he was like, "Oh no, it's bubble gum," and Nan pretty much turned around and was like, "Oh no, and I didn't know, and I even said, well, I didn't know anyway, I didn't know." But it was funny because Yeah. Right, anyway, let's get back to this. Sorry. Now, this is where it gets interesting. At that time, I was working at Popham as a chef, which was a blast. I loved every single minute of it. The guys there were just so funny, and we all got on so bloody well. The only bugger was getting there, because the only way of getting there was a train. And yeah, only way of getting there was a train, unless I would get picked up. And I was watching a lot of Ghost Adventures, and I was watching a lot of Ghost Adventures and some Most Haunted stuff, but focused more on Ghost Adventures. As we know, Most Haunted is and crap. Well, when they had Derek Acora on there, it was good, but otherwise a load of crap, which was bullshit. Anyway, I was at work one evening and my dad called me and asked if I was busy. So I said, I'll call you back, as we were closing, and I didn't want to fall behind on the cleaning and stuff because I was back in the following day. So, I said, I was like, well, we're closing, so I'll give you a buzz when I'm on my way home, like waiting for the train and stuff. So yeah, about half hour, 45 minutes later, I'm waiting for my train, and I called my dad back, and he told me something that would shock me. He had told me he had a spiritual reading done, and that was very interesting. I asked why, with fag hanging out of mouth. He said, because Nan and Grandad had come, because his mum and dad had come through to say that they liked my new kitchen and that I looked happy. I was confused, so I asked him what he meant. He told me about the kitchen, as I had only been working at Popham for about 3-4 months, and I looked happy because I was doing something I loved doing. So it was nice knowing my Nan and Grandad. I never met my Grandad, but it was nice knowing my Nan and Grandad were happy. So let's move on a few years to when I lost my dad. Still at that old house. After my dad went, I had my mum and Sam telling me to go to a spiritual church, because I thought Dad would have made his presence felt at the house, but he never did. It wasn't until one day, this is about a week after the funeral, both me and Sam had put the girls to bed, and if you have kids, sometimes they talk to each other, so me and Sam are both downstairs, and about 30 minutes later we hear the floor creak and then one of the girls scream. So me and Sam both go running up the stairs to find out what the fuck is going on, and all we got was, I saw a shadow, then I saw a man. And obviously, being a bit, I asked them to explain what they saw, and they described this man who was wearing a blue suit, and he had smile. If you know what they have just described, then I wish I could give you a high five. For those of you who don't, I just want to say, I'll just put it this way. They described this man was wearing a blue suit and he smiled. I wanted to cry because what they had just seen was in fact my dad. And I showed them the picture and they realised. I then explained to them he wasn't there to hurt or scare them. He was probably there to check on them and to make sure everything was okay with them. He loved those girls so much. He loved talking to them on the phone, even if half the time he couldn't understand what they were saying, or it was just, he loved them to bits. I know they miss him dearly. It was at this point I knew I had to go to the spiritual church. And the time I went down was unbelievable. I got this information, and what got me even more was the person said, all this person wanted to do is give you a giant man hug. And some of the information I got was sand and arcade machines. And for those of you who don't actually know, summer holidays, half terms, my dad would actually take me to Southend-on-Sea, and we would annihilate the arcade, like not just any, the 2p machines, the 10p machine, the coin machines. We would just raid the fuck out of them. Anyway, I knew this was my dad, so I was so happy that my dad had finally come through to me. And then after that, well, so after my dad had finally come through to me, after so long, it was after that stuff started happening to me. There was something else in the house that wasn't nice. I don't know what it was, but all I know is it wasn't a nice thing, and it would continue to affect me. It affected me very badly. I don't even know if I should really share it, but hell, I don't care anymore. It needs to be said. It would affect me to the point where I would try harming myself in front of the girls and Sam. It got to the point where I don't want to say I was possessed, but I felt taken over. And I remember being in the bedroom with Sam, sorting some stuff out, and then I was by a set of windows, and then all of a sudden, I don't remember what happened. All I remember is hanging on to the stair banister, like I was going to go down the stairs head first.
though whatever was in that house wanted to do damage to me. I don't know why. But what I just shared, I've not shared with anyone else before. The only other person who knows about that is Sam. Whatever was in that house was trying to do damage to me. Or kill me. But this would continue for months. Or, I think at the most it was years. I would be attacked, I would be taken over, I would have violent thoughts in my head. At one point I was sorting stuff out. I ended up saying I'm gonna do an all-nighter. I remember Sam had gone to bed. I remember sitting in the living room. I had all the paperwork out, and I was going through paperwork and stuff, separating it all out, and I remember hearing something, and then I went to go check on it, and I remember going to check on it, and then after that I don't remember anything. I remember at one point one of the girls had said they had seen me, and then when they called me, I turned to them and they just looked at me, and then they went away. And when I said to them, don't lie about it, they pretty much said, no, Dad, you didn't look yourself, you looked like someone completely different. You weren't yourself. And the way I looked at them looked like I wanted to do harm to them. And this is the thing, most of you know me. I wouldn't do anything to harm any of my children or anyone's children. And as soon as they told me that, something had to be done. And this is where everything would lead up to Level 10 Church.
Don't worry, I'm not stuck on my family. I must have dozed off. That's the end of part 3. So stay tuned for the last and final part. I think I'm gonna get comfy, and I think I'm actually gonna try getting some sleep. And as for that, it's a comfort thing. I've done it since I was a little baby. So fuck you, go judge someone else. Yeah, whatever. Night.